Good afternoon. How are we all? Hope we're all well. Hope we all had a good weekend. Before we start, I just want to say a massive thank you to Joe Stunner Boxing and G-Man Boxing for giving me some massive help this weekend, some massive support in getting my channel seen and getting me out there. Thank you guys. You are a couple of true gentlemen. Also, thank you to everyone who liked and subscribed this weekend. If you're new and you came up and you hit the like and you hit the subscribe, it means a massive amount to me. So thank you as well. Also, if you're new and you're watching for the first time, hit like, hit subscribe. Again, eternally grateful. Also, one more thing. Congratulations to Tom Aspinall this weekend, who became Britain's first UFC heavyweight champion. Couldn't happen to a nicer fella. Right, just as we start. So I listened to Ade and Gareth A. Davies at the weekend talking about these figures being bandied about for the pay-per-view for Fury and Ngannou, specifically the US pay-per-view. And they were talking about numbers of 67,000. I'd done a bit of investigating on this, and I found numbers ranging from 11,500 to 67,000. And they were kind of saying on there how they can't be right, that those figures can't be right, because sort of globally, the rest of the world, the UK, Europe, and everywhere else, the figures were sort of half decent. And the US ones are massively under those. And they were saying that probably can't be true because they can't be that low. But I quite believe they can, because the thing you got to realise with Americans and sport especially, if the event doesn't feature any Americans, quite honestly, Americans aren't interested. They are that patriotic that unless it involves them, they do not really care, unfortunately. And I know you had sort of a list of who's who of elite celebrities and elite sports personalities and ex-fighters and all the rest live at that Fury and Ngannou fight. I'm pretty sure that half of them there were there through invite on a all expenses paid, jolly from the Saudis. I don't think half of them made the effort and paid the money to go there themselves. But it gave the impression that that for that night only, that was the centre of the universe. But I don't think it was. So when it comes to those American pay-per-view numbers, I quite believe it. 67,000, yeah. Because there wasn't an American involved in the headline. Why do they care? That's how they are. Anyway, also, I suppose the biggest story of the weekend is the proposed supercard in Saudi on the 23rd. Now, I'm not going to cover every fight on there, every proposed fight, every name on the card. Like I said, Joe, G-Man, they've covered that extensively in a far more professional manner than I could. But what I will talk about is there's one of the biggest questions surrounding it is, why are we getting this sort of prelim semi-final type affair? Why aren't we getting just Wilder v Joshua now? And I think that's pretty obvious to me. It's a case of, it's just a simple marketing tactic here. It's just a case of getting as much out of your two prize assets as you can. It's a bit of a strategy in my eyes. You get two elite level fighters that pretty much most of the boxing public want to see fight. You then talk about them fighting, so you generate even more public interest, and then you leave it out there in the ether and you let it brew. And then what you do is you let it brew for just a little too long enough that one of those fighters or two of those fighters hasn't fought for a long time. And before they enter into that big match, they need a tune-up. They need a warm-up. And how you sell it and how you make it acceptable to the boxing public is you put it on the same card. And you're like, wow, that's a great idea. What a great card. And then what you do is you give decent opponents. And they are decent opponents. Joshua v. Wallen, that's a good fight. I don't think that's a perfect match for Joshua if you're trying to make him look good. I think there's problems there. And then Parker Wilder, well, on the face of that, you say Parker Wilder, but when you think about it, there's a lot in that, isn't there? I mean, we don't really know where Wilder's at right now. Essentially, you can sort of scrub the Helenius fight. That's 2 years since he's had a real fight. How much of those two beatings from Fury have they took out of him? And as we know, Parker's got a good chin. He's not the most ambitious in the ring, shall we say. He's a bit better under Andy Lee, let's be fair. And then there's also the fact that he's got the Fury corner, or the old Fury corner. The Fury corner that certainly dealt with, was it one at the first Wilder fight, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't know if Andy Lee was with, did he work alongside Sugar Hill? I'm sure you'll correct me on that, you guys. But anyway, they're live fights, aren't they? And the fact they're live fights, we'll accept it, and we'll all accept it. Are you going to pay for that? I'll pay for it. That's a night's entertainment. Yeah, that's a decent card, especially if everyone else they say they're going to throw on a card. But I don't think there's any conspiracy or any. I think it's down to finances or what's in the pot, and that doesn't cover that. That doesn't cover those two fightings. I just think it's a case of. Do you know what I can equate it to? You remember when mobile phones first started putting digital cameras on? And the first sort of digital cameras were 1 to 2 megapixel. Then when you upgrade come, the new model came out, you had a 5 megapixel. And I've no doubt that at the time, they had the technology to start us off with a 5 megapixel camera, but they didn't. Why sell us a 5 and they can sell us a 2? And then sell us a 5? This is the same thing. Why sell us Wilder Joshua when you can sell us a prelim type semi-affair first? That we'll all buy fairly happily. And then later on, you sell us the main event. I just think that's fairly obvious, don't you? Yeah. Anyway, well, that's it for this one. I'll be back with another one shortly. Thanks for all coming. As I said before, like and subscribe if you haven't already. All the best. See you soon. I'm out.